What is up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Roster Chronicles, where we do a Dynasty roster review on your team. We look at some of these stud players, the core players that we want to build around. We look at some of the trade pieces. We look at some of the team needs. We look at some of the trade targets, what to do with some of the picks. But we take a look at everything. We give you some advice and what to do in your current situation. How can we make our team better for the future? So before we get into this episode, guys, do me a favor there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you do play Dynasty Fantasy Football. But let's get right into the video. Let's get into it. We got Jay Crank's Dynasty roster review. This is a 12-team super flex, but it is start 8, so a little bit shallow. 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, and then the super flex spot, of course, as well. We've got the picks, the 2023, 107, 108. 2024, we got 3 firsts, a third and a fourth. 2025, we got no first. And let's take a look at this team real quick. QBs, we got Hurts, Darnold, Minshew, Trask, and Wilson. We've got no QB2, really. And this is super flex, so that is a problem. RBs, we've got Swift, Stevenson, Dillon, Harris, and Dearness Johnson. Wide receivers, we've got CeeDee Lamb, Waddle, Judy, Godwin, DK, Hollywood. Nice wide receivers, but we can only start 3. Don't forget Michael Thomas here. Tight ends, we got Schultz, Komet, Ertz, and Likely. I've got a little bit of context on the bottom. I'll get into that in a second. But what do you think about the team overall, just by looking at it, Hammer, and with the format?
Yeah, it's really solid. Obviously, the QB, you got QB1, locked and loaded, so you're in good shape there. The wide receivers, for this format, you're actually overloaded at wide receiver for this particular format. But the wide receivers are really good. Obviously, I like Schultz, and I do like Komet a little bit in a dynasty format. If he's your second tight end, considering we talked about Schultz being a free agent or a pending free agent, right? Or they got to franchise him. What's Schultz? I know you mentioned it.
His contract is up, so they've either got to franchise him or pay him. I don't think they pay him. I don't think it makes sense for them to pay him. I think we spoke about it a little bit earlier, how I feel about Schultz. So I guess watch it after and get that part in. But yeah, I mean, I just think they could get somebody else that I think Ferguson is a perfect example of a guy that can just step right up where they don't have to pay Schultz that money. So
right, especially at that
position. I wouldn't
yeah.
pay it. Well, you got the whole Schultz. Yeah. I mean, Schultz. You got the whole Zeke and Pollard issue as well. So Zeke said, "Okay, I'll take less money," and then you got Pollard who just fucking
got hurt.
Broke his damn leg in half. So, I mean, he's most likely going to get, they're saying that possible that he gets franchised. Right. Zeke takes less money. So they got both of them again going into next year. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Schultz, but you do got Komet, so
Komet's fine. Yeah, Komet's fine. I think that's solid too. Obviously, you mentioned it right off the rip. For being a super flex, you do not have a super flex quarterback on this roster, and I think that's the biggest thing. Just looking at it, your running backs are fine. You can figure that out. I think you're okay at your top, even 3 with AJ Dillon. If AJ Dillon's your RB3, I think you're okay. So yeah, overall the team is really solid. I mean, I like your top end talent, and that matters. And I talked about foundational pieces. When we had got asked the question, and you have those foundational pieces. Number 1, Jalen Hurts, CD, Waddle. You can work with that if that's your foundation.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, just to put some context on the bottom here, we've got it. He made the championship in the previous season, and he lost because he had no QB, no super flex QB. You see, he's got Jalen Hurts up there, and I think he was hurt. Depending what championship week that you had, every
and that's why he had Minshew.
So,
that's why he had Minshew. Yeah.
And then you got Minshew there, but then nothing else, on top of that after. So he also asked, should he trade some of his first? Does he make some moves and trade his first round picks? And if he does keep his picks, who should he target? So we'll get into some of that stuff. But all right, off the bat, who are some of the studs, the core players that
we're just not giving away here.
Obviously, Jalen Hurts is numero uno. CD and Waddle, and then everybody else is up for grabs.
Yeah, I think I agree 100%. Hurts, CD, and Waddle are the absolute guys that we are going to keep and keep as our core. You do got some other studs like Judy, Godwin, DK, and Hollywood, but those are just perfect, trade pieces for you to
100%.
come off of. But yeah, team needs. I think we just spoke about definitely we need the QB. I mean, he said it himself. He lost a ship because he did not have that QB. So
Yep.
QB is really the only ultimate need. Can we upgrade at tight end possibly? But the ultimate need here is going to be obviously the QB. So trade pieces we kind of just talked about. Judy, Godwin, DK, Hollywood, and the picks really.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Do you have any? I got a couple ideas. What do you have any ideas off the bat? What are you trying to move to improve or get a damn QB?
So I think it really depends on what QB you're targeting, right? Are you targeting a QB that's I don't think you're going to get any of the top 3 or 4 guys. You're not going to get Burrow. You're not going to get Mahomes. You're not going to get Allen. You
What if you
probably
could?
not going to. You're probably not going to get Herbert. I don't think you get any of those guys without trading those three. One of those three. You're not trading Hurts, obviously. So you're not trading CD or Waddle. So I don't know if that's enough of a package in a super flex to trade for one of those top 3 or 4 guys, just because there's so much. They're valuable in one quarterback leagues, not even
Kyler
mentioning
Murray.
super flex.
He
So
said Kyler Murray. This
all
this
right,
is this is Jay
that's
Crank.
perfect. So
So
that's
he said,
perfect. So
yeah. We
that's
always
perfect.
talk about how the guys people are sour on the Kyler Murrays, the Lamar Jacksons, and those guys that people are
Maybe
just
even
the
Deshaun
Herberts,
Watson.
Deshaun Watsons, the people that are guys are just kind of sour. I think Kyler Murray is a perfect kind of guy to go after. I just got Kyler Murray in one of my super flex leagues. Um, it wasn't
Yeah,
cheap, but he still had to. He was the only guy. He was the only quarterback that was available that somebody would give up. I literally hit up every single manager and tried. Like, people will
it's
not
tough.
give up those
Yep,
QBs, especially after those first 1-2 years
that's right.
where a lot of the QBs that people have in their super flex start to just kind of fade out and disappear, and then you need those. You need those damn QBs. He said that's who he's targeting. He's going to have to find the right package and be patient. I think absolutely. Listen, you got the
Yeah,
107 and the 108. You asked, should you trade those first? Absolutely. I'll trade the 107 and the 108 for Kyler Murray if I could. Is
and
it going to cost more than that?
throw
You've
in throw in throw in DK if you have to.
you got plenty of guys there. The DKs, the Hollywood,
Judy,
Judy, the Godwin. I know you'd like to have probably the stack with Hollywood, but is Hollywood really going to make your lineup with CD and Waddle? You can only start 3 guys, so
and
you
Judy
know
and DK. Yeah,
I'm okay with getting rid of Hollywood. So yeah, any one of those guys with the 107 and the 108, I'd give up. And you could also see if you could get something back in return, like a third or something like that. But
yeah.
uh,
A couple of other guys that I'm high
it's
on.
going to
Crank.
cost more. He said so. Okay, he said it's going to cost more. Okay, so yeah. Well, what more is it going to cost? Is it going to cost him? Is it going to cost you a Hollywood, a Godwin, a DK? Like,
Yeah,
what is it? You know, and you got to pay whatever it is. I mean, it doesn't matter. You got
yeah.
you
A
got to
couple.
pay it because you lost because of this reason. But my bad. Go ahead, Hammer.
Yeah, no. A couple other guys that I tend to look at too, and I mention this on almost every show where we get this similar. Jared Goff, man. I love his production, and
Just
for the
traded.
super flex, you traded him away.
I just traded Jared. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But go ahead.
But I think especially for this particular roster, I think he's a really good buy quarterback, just because everything that's coming out of there, he's going to be there. He's going to, he's going to be the quarterback. We talked about the weapons, with the last question with Jameson Williams, what they have in Detroit. And Jared Goff was a top 10 quarterback anyway. So I think Jared Goff's and the stigma around Jared Goff, to me, is such where you won't have to pay a high premium price for a guy like Jared Goff. Maybe in a super flex, you might have to pay a little bit more, but I think he's another guy that's worth looking after. And he doesn't get hurt.
You said DK. So what is the 107, the 108, and DK?
And
Don't
DK,
forget, you got 324 first also. So
maybe
you got plenty to play with. So buy DK. I mean, I'd do it. 107, 108, and DK. Kiss DK goodbye. Get yourself Kyler Murray. Now you still got 3 firsts. You still got all these guys. Now, can you maybe tier up at the tight end position? Can you get rid of Hollywood, Judy, or Godwin plus and go get yourself a top tight end? You don't even have to stop there. Can you go get yourself another decent QB? Can you go get Goff as well? Like you said, Hammer.
on top
Can
of
you
it,
give
yeah.
up Godwin or Hollywood plus if you have to and go get Goff? So now you've got Hurts, Kyler Murray, and Goff because you just saw the last year with Hurts
Kyler
going down
Murray.
and getting hurt,
Yep.
Kyler Murray going down and getting hurt. So at least now you've got a guy that won't cost you an arm and a leg, but still is going to
Good production.
give you
Hell yeah.
that good production if you need him to go in there because you do have two running QBs. So and this is a start 8, so it's important you definitely get hammers at every position possible. And if you can back that up with another, what pieces would you throw in for Goff? Listen, everybody's a little bit different on Goff. It all depends on how you feel
Mm-hmm.
about it. I just made a trade today. I gave up Jared Goff and the 105, and I got Jerry Judy, Javonte Williams, Chase Edmonds, and a 3rd-round pick. It's kind of like a perfectly even kind of trade. They're all kind of going in the same area. In startups and keep trade cut, it's literally like exactly almost the fucking same. It's just I have Joe Burrow, Trey Lance, and I'm gonna have Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. So I was willing to give up Golf and get some position players, but
But you're in a different situation than Crank right
yeah, I'm
now.
in a different situation than that. So what is it gonna cost you to get Golf? I don't know.
I would honestly just offer up one of those. What you have
Offer
those
up the wide
2024.
receiver,
You have those
and you got the
2024
first.
first round.
Yeah, and you got the first. Does it cost you 2024 first?
And where your team is, those are going to be
I don't
back
know.
end first.
It's
Those are going
kind
to
of
be back. Yeah, those are going to be back end first round picks anyway.
well, yeah, I'd give up
The
your
way
first definitely, and then one of the other ones, and then keep one of the others. But does it cost you Hollywood? Does it cost you Godwin? Does it cost you Judy? I'd honestly want to really try and keep CD Waddle and Judy to play in your 2 wide receivers in your flex position. So I'd
yeah,
rather give
I
up
agree.
Godwin or Hollywood, but you might not have that luxury.
To be
You might
honest,
have to give them up.
to be honest with you, for me, Judy and DK are
Or
kind
even
of one and the
Stevenson.
same. Whichever one they ask for, if it's Judy or DK, I'd be comfortable with whichever one they ask for, and then whoever you didn't trade would be your 3rd wide receiver. Because DK being your 3rd wide receiver feels almost the same as Judy being your 3rd wide receiver,
Yeah.
production wise.
Yeah, just inquire what it's going to cost to get Golf too. I'm okay with giving up Stevenson as well. I mean, you won't have my bad. You won't have a great second running back position. You put yourself at a little bit of risk, but if that's what it's going to take to solidify a damn QB position, then that's what it's going to take because you could always try and replace that. But if you got these QBs locked in, you're guaranteed, and you still have CD and Waddle, you're guaranteeing yourself, contention for
Longevity.
a
Yeah.
long, long period of time.
And
So
then
you
and
got
then
to
during
give
this
up what you need to. You got to give up whatever you need to
yeah,
almost.
and then listen, during the season, especially and also too, I think, and when you first said trade Stevenson, I said, whoa, wait a minute in my mind. But then as I'm thinking about it, how many seasons have gone by where you can just pick up an RB off the waiver wire because another running back got injured and plug him in?
That's why I hate the running back position. There's just too many injuries. I'd rather solidify my other positions and worry about that running back position last because the one thing about the running back position is that it's almost automatically a year to year thing. Like
Yeah,
it's not,
I
it
agree.
doesn't have the CD, the Waddle outlook like the Judy. It's not like that. It just changes every single year. We went
I
into
agree.
this year and you were drafting Stevenson crazy late, because they had Damian Harris, like, and you were drafting Stevenson crazy late, and then Stevenson turns out to be the guy. But now, don't forget, he's only got what two more years left in New England. On top of
And
that,
we know how Bill Belichick is with running backs.
they never re-sign running backs. On top of that, is he going to actually be the workhorse? We saw him break down and get hurt towards the end of the season. We know Belichick is always one to go and get that third down running back. He's always got that James White guy.
Rex
So what?
Burkhead.
And don't forget, James White got hurt this year as well, so they didn't have that either. So I'm okay with moving off of RBs to solidify any of your other positions and then worry about the RB position last. Because don't forget, you still got these 24 first here. Like, you're okay, man. You're definitely okay. But I think, what other idea? Any other ideas?
No, I'm trying to cycle through some buyer.
Can we give up Schultz in a first and go get fucking TJ Hawk? We just talked about Hawkinson.
Yeah, you could. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
But all right. So we gave out a bunch of different options. Let's say worst comes to worst. Hey, he's actually asking right now. I'm actually going into it right now. Takes offers. I'm forced to keep the picks. See what my roster needs. Would you be a bit okay? So yeah, if he's got to make these picks, if he can't get anything, you got to be able to get a damn QB, and give up whatever the hell you need to get the QB. But let's say worst comes to worst, okay, you can't get the QB at 107, 108. You're almost forced to take the Will Levis or the Anthony Richardson if they get picked in the first round of the NFL draft. Like, you're almost forced to take the chance on any QB there, I think. Otherwise, if it's not going to be QB, you just got to take the best player available. You got to take the most valuable guy that's there. It's super flex, so figure at that point maybe one of the top 3 wide receivers falls. You got to be lucky. Michael Mayer would be like the perfect area to take the Michael Mayer after the wide receivers and the running backs and the QBs goes. Like, Michael Mayer is right there, perfect for the taking. Like, so I take him if you could as well. And then if not the top wide receiver, top 3 wide receivers, Mayer, and then I take whatever next best running back there is. What do you think, Hammer?
Yeah, for me, to be honest with you, I do think you'll be able to make a trade, but if it doesn't, I'm starting to come along with what you're saying in terms of you don't necessarily need to trade for the position right away. You trade for you pick for the value. And I think in this particular situation, that's the way to go, because people, especially if you pick the best player available, you'll be able to get more value, especially once the draft is over and the rosters start to shake out. Once you do your draft, people are more willing to trade once the draft's over, potentially, because they've made their picks. They see what their roster's looking like. So I think if you have to make the 7 and the 8, you pick the best player available, whether that's a running back, wide receiver, quarterback, whatever the case may be, and then reassess and go out there and see if you can make a trade for the quarterback if you have to make those picks. So pick the best player available. And Blanc just outlined, some of the players that might be available at that 107 and 108. So that would be my strategy, is pick the best player available.
Yeah, definitely. But I would think you can definitely pull off to get a QB with the wide receiver room that you have. So, but worst comes to worst, yeah, that would be the best options out there.
Yeah, in a 12 team, you should be able to get a guy,
definitely,
especially with the talent that you have.
Wraps it up for this episode of the Roster Chronicles. Guys, let me know what you think down there in the comments. If you have any other suggestions for this particular team, pop them down there in the comments. Do me a favor there, hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you do play Dynasty Fantasy Football, if you would like a Dynasty roster team review, check down there in the description. Hit us up on our email at dynastylifeforever@gmail.com. Send us your roster. Make sure you send us the format, any other information that we're going to need to properly review your team so you can get on the next episode. But again, thanks for tuning in, guys.